good performance even if they lose. Got runs. Let's have a look at the pitch now, shall we? Michael Holding is out in the middle.
Usually here in India, we are accustomed to dry, hard pitches with not a lot of grass. This pitch is quite similar. Let's have a look at it. Again, we can see pitch is fairly dry. A little bit of grass there, but I think most of this grass is dead grass that has been sprinkled on the pitch and has been rolled in. So it should not really affect the sideways movement of the ball too much. The ball should pretty much move smoothly off the surface. But it's not as smooth as it looks. There are a few patches around that are not very good looking at all. Look at this particular area here. This seems as if it's a square that has been dug out and some fresh earth has been placed in it. A bit of grass here as well, but it's not very smooth, and this is a pretty good length to be bowling on the off stump. There are a few more patches like that as well, and the pitch is not as pretty as it could be, but perhaps it might play better than it looks. Let's hope so, but I think the team that wins the toss will want to bat first.
Well, now to the toss, possibly Rich's last, I suppose, with the captains, Ian Chappell.
All right, well, we've got head, tail.
Australia to toss, West Indies to call. Is that all right?
Yeah.
All right? Right.
Heads. What is it? Tail it is.
Yeah, no problem.
Mark, what do you make of this pitch?
Oh, it looks pretty good. Looks pretty hard. I think it'll be good all day. I don't really think there's a huge advantage about batting first or second. I think it's just a hard wicket.
And Paul Rifle fit again? You got him back on the side?
Yeah, it's good to have him back. He was probably 90% fit last game, but we decided to rest him, and hopefully he'll be 100% fit now and right for the rest of the tournament.
Any changes to the batting order at all, or are you going with a normal lineup?
At this stage, normal batting lineup, but we'll see how it goes and how we go early doors.
All right, good luck then.
Thanks, mate.
Richie, pretty important game for you guys.
Yeah, most certainly. We've got to win, really. We've got to do whatever it takes to win, and we're ready to do that.
And injury to Gibson, he's out with injury?
Yeah, Gibson is struggling a bit with his side, and can't make it. Have one or two little niggles, but we just got to do whatever we've got to do to win this game.
And changes to the batting order at all?
Yeah, there might be a few changes. Won't tell you, but you'll see eventually.
Okay. All right then. Good luck.
Thanks.
Mark Taylor winning the toss, and Australia will be batting first.
Right, well, let's have a look at the two teams. Now, just the one change for Australia from the side that won the other day. Rifle is back in, and Shane Lee is out. As for the West Indies, it's going to be Curtly Ambrose to bowl then, to open up. Looks like is with Tony Greig.
Back to bowl the first ball of this match.
Surprise a few people, but the West Indies camp is hoping that it will work.
Well, that's in the air and just over his head. That's very lucky. Mark Taylor going for that pull shot of his, which during this World Cup he's played so well. It hit the splice of the bat, was onto him quicker than he expected, and it could so easily have gone straight back to Walsh.
Well, Mark Taylor himself said that the pitch was very hard, and because it's that hard, the ball is skidding off the surface. It's not making a mark in the surface, so it's coming on a lot quicker than you'd expect. That ball got onto him much too quickly for him to be playing that shot, and it was pretty wide of off stump as well.
Oh, that's got to be close. It may just have been an inside edge on that one. We'll have a look at it in a moment. Still no runs, no wickets. And the West Indians bowling very well, and the Aussies off. That's the first run so far, and this is the fourth over. Slightly off target. Now, the last ball of last over. Pretty good delivery, this one from Ambrose. We thought he may have nicked it.
Yes, I think he did get an inside edge there, because if he hadn't gotten an inside edge, that certainly would have been out. Just off the inside edge onto the pad.
He's got that one away, and only just over the top of Roger Harper's head. Again, quite steep bounce there. Taylor going for that pull shot. 3 runs off the over, 8 for none.
Curtly Ambrose is going to continue after having bowled 5 overs for just 1 run. Finally, they've got more than a single off Curtly Ambrose
maybe even Shivnarine Chanderpaul, won't pose Australia the problems of the quicker bowler would.
Arthurton.
Yeah, he's pretty quick here, Arthurton, but he's got to run round. It's the wrong side of the ball, left-handed thrower, and you see he just loses a split second as he has to run round the ball to get onto his good side. He would have still posed hopeless problems for Mark Taylor.
And a big shout there from Courtney Walsh. He's got Mark Taylor. So after a torrid time, the Australian captain is gone.
And one of Walsh's great strengths is his ability to angle the ball across the left-hander, and so often to get the ball to leave the left-hander off the seam, and that's exactly what that does. A little bit of bounce, but plenty of movement. And Mark Taylor, who hasn't been comfortable since he arrived at the crease this morning, goes.
Bowling pretty well. He's a very good player of the pull shot. That is his record so far. 20 matches already. Quite amazing how they chalk up so quickly. Bit of a message there, I think, from Courtney Walsh, man coming out without a helmet.
A little bit of a look from umpire Mahmood Shah at as the dismissal of Mark Taylor. Good delivery. Courtney Walsh, really good line, pitching on around leg stump and getting all the way across Mark Taylor.
He's happy that he's getting it right. See there, a bit of a shake of the head. That's an example of Ponting playing the short pitch delivery.
I was lucky enough to be able to go to the Australian Cricket Academy when England were in Australia last year and have a long chat with Rodney Marsh. Rodney Marsh said that he was to take anybody to Australia with him, but the younger Australian batsman to be Ricky Ponting, and that's particularly because he's so strong off the back foot in the pull and the hook shot, and there's a pretty good example of it.
For one dreadful moment, I thought you'd gone there to learn something.
To help the early progression of the young Australian Test cricketers.
I don't think Courtney Walsh is convinced that Ricky Ponting can play well off the back foot. I've got some news for him. It's 35 for 1.
And it certainly affects their bowling. Good chance to gauge the pace of the outfield. We haven't seen much that's been racing away to the boundary like that from an offside stroke. First boundary for Mark Waugh, and Australia 41 for 1.
That was a good shot from Mark Waugh. He just got enough room outside the off stump to punish that through the offside. Looking to come onto the front foot, Mark Waugh. Very fast outfield.
And get Australia to a good target of, I wouldn't say a great deal more than 200 would be a pretty good target on here.
Well, looks like we're back in action, and there's a little misfield. Richie Richardson in hot pursuit. The Australians closing on their first 50. Good stop by Richie. And let's get back to our commentators in Jaipur.
A very big ground, so they'll have trouble getting twos if the fielder is on his feet. But that could have been dangerous.
Yes, Richie Richardson there sliding with his right leg. I think it would have been better served trying the left leg or trying to dive.
Up. Just the one wicket down, that of Mark Taylor. ...112 balls, so that's slower than you would normally associate with the top part of the Australian order.
An ideal time to bring on either Keith Atherton or Jimmy Adams.
And Ambrose was quite right to produce a vehement shout there, because he reckoned the ball hit the pad before the bat. Umpire didn't think so.
I think if the ball hit the pad before the bat, he would have had good reason to give him out. But obviously the umpire thought it was bat first.
4 main bowlers. They're not getting wickets. They've just got Mark Taylor out.
Hasn't quite got that, Ricky Ponting. It'll be safe. Had a chip shot, and he gets 3 for it. Well run. Ran the first one very quickly. And had plenty of time to come through for 3.
So bowling well but not taking a lot of wickets means that the Australians can start to take some risks any time now with Roger Harper bowling, and then they're going to have some overs from Atherton and Jimmy Adams. Know that if they can get Lara reasonably cheaply, the West Indies drop away.
It's nicely played too. Roger Harper is straying down the leg side. It's the one place he can't afford to go with the field set as it is. Just 5 fielders allowed on the leg side, and the one Keith Atherton may well be being looked for by the Australian batsman. Economy rate there of nearly 5, which is pretty expensive. Bowls sort of quickish. Left arm round the wicket stuff, loath to call it. So 5 from Keith Atherton's first over. Australia 79 for 1. Words to write about this World Cup. It's a terrific strike from Ricky Ponting. It's his second boundary. Good as you'll see from him. Very strong off that back foot.
You get the feeling with this period that the West Indies are looking just to contain. I don't see much about their bowling that is looking to take wickets. If they're just going to try and contain with these lesser bowlers, then I think they're going to find themselves in a bit of strife. I think it's been proved that in this period of middle overs, it's the teams that can take wickets in this period that are more successful. Australia is a team that has done that.
Brilliantly done. Courtney Brown hasn't had an easy time of it in this World Cup. Put one down against India, and that was Tendulkar. Here, the other really top batsman of the tournament, Mark Waugh, has gone. Well stumped. Roger Harper by Courtney Brown.
Well, that's what the West Indies needed. Mark Waugh gave them a bit of assistance there, charging Roger Harper, and he was able to fire the arm ball through him. Courtney Brown did the rest. It's 84 for 2.
He's needed a wicket. Good bit of work from Courtney Brown. Brought back into the side. Jimmy Adams kept wicket in the desperate game against Kenya. 5 dismissals to Jimmy Adams, including a stumping, but Brown back in the side and on song.
Yes, it was a good ball from Roger Harper. He fired in the arm ball when he saw Mark Waugh coming at him, and the arm ball just skidded a little bit, stayed down. Mark Waugh was left with really the one option once he charged. That was to play the cut shot.
Richardson reckon he can sneak in some of the overs that would otherwise be bowled by Keith Atherton. And the Australians will reckon that this is a good time for acceleration.
They're played against.
Well, that's only the 14th over in one-day international cricket that Jimmy Adams has bowled. And it's a cheap one, just 2 from it. 94 for 2. 2,000 of them at the last count. must be trouble, and missed. He was gone. Real mix-up. Ponting not knowing what Waugh was thinking, and vice versa. Big smile on Keith Atherton's face.
I get the feeling that Richie Richardson in the end could have actually walked over and just flipped the bails off. Certainly could have got a lot closer before he fired the ball.
It's nicely bowled by Keith Atherton. Bowled it just a little bit slower, and it looks to me as if you're prepared to bowl just a little bit slower. There's some grip. Here's the run out that should have been. And Richie Richardson with plenty of time to take aim, and misses. That's well run. Super cricket from the Australians. They moved to 99 for 2.
For 2. Pretty tense contest taking place. Darren Jaipur. That one wide outside off stump and nicely smashed away into the gap on the offside. Yes, this is definitely the sort of wicket that requires a little bit of presence at the crease before you can really start having a go. Australia now have moved on to 100 for 2. 38. And a good strike rate. In the air and just over the top of the mid-wicket fieldsman. Back for the second. That's Ricky Ponting's half-century. A little chip shot, just clearing mid-wicket. A good innings.
Played very well, Ricky Ponting. He was half going Bombay when he was out of that magnificent catch by Sanjay Manjrekar.
Rolling his body behind it, and he just dropped down onto the ground. Well, that's going all the way. Lovely shot, a magnificent Stephen Waugh. Just outside off stump. He's gone after it. Wasn't quite there, but gone through with the shot, and it's gone miles.
Frustration that cost Jimmy Adams 6 runs there. He's been keeping Steve Waugh pegged down, and that last one was the last straw that Roger Harper fielded along the ground, so he decided to go over the top.
That one's cut into the gap. They'll get one. Yes, that really was a lovely blow. Tossed up, and he hit through it. It's a there. The fieldsman just watched it disappear over his head. Just for a second, I thought he may have thought he had a chance. There he is, hovering around the line, and the run rate initially was negligible. That's in the air and into the gap again. That's very good placement. One bounce and over the fence for 4. Ricky Ponting does play that pull shot superbly. There is absolutely no future in bowling short to him.
It's footwork that does it. Got to get your feet into the right position, and Ricky Ponting was very quick there. Just rocking back onto the back foot. Perfectly balanced when he played the stroke.
This Australian run rate was hovering around about 1. Well, back at him, and that was catchable, but it was hit so hard that he couldn't get his hand in place. That's a magnificent drive, uppishly hit, but it went all the way for 4, right off the meat of the bat. 130 for 2. Yeah. This was the last straight drive from Ponting. Went past the bowler so fast, couldn't quite get his hand there in time, and it went screaming away to the straight fence. Oh, and that's a miss. We've already seen one stumping, and this was another opportunity. I think the wicketkeeper fumbled the ball. Let's have another look.
Fumbled it 3 times. Not content with 1. Steve Waugh knows that
Regardless of the ball, it stayed down a bit, and that's what really foxed the wicketkeeper. Fumbled it once, tried to regathered it, couldn't make it, missed it, and of course Stephen Waugh had time as a result of that little juggle act to get back. 133 on the board now. We're in over number 37. offside field back to the second. That brings up the 50 partnership. And the Australian total moves on to 135 for 2. Oh, and that's a short one, and he tried to get out of the way of that. I think he saw him coming and directed that short delivery straight at his heart. He managed to get his bat there, and it went flying away to third man. This will make an interesting replay.
Steve Waugh did very well to get a bat on it. He didn't panic as he saw it spearing in at him, nor did he really attempt to hit it down to third man where it eventually finished. That was,
as I mentioned, should have had a wicket, and the important one of Steve Waugh. That's 150 up for Australia.
And a good hit too from Steve Waugh, picking the big gap between mid-off, who's exceptionally wide, and mid-on, who's also exceptionally wide. So anything down the ground is very effective. In fact, mid-on has now just been brought a little bit straighter by Richie Richardson, but that is a big area for Steve Waugh if he's looking to hit there.
That 50 partnership coming up off 45 balls. That one's really taken off, and umpire at square leg says it's past shoulder height.
Well, Steve Waugh got pretty used to that sort of evasive action on Australia's tour of the Caribbean, and that has flown. Rather like the days of uncovered pitches, the way that ball bounced. That soft bit in the middle there almost looked as if they'd watered it because they were worried about how much it would crack. And the ball just grips the surface and then flies. You can just see there, very much like the old hard pitches that then got wet. They were left uncovered and the ball flew through the surface from them as they were drying out.
Slightly different bounce on that occasion. Ricky Ponting just looking down at the pitch as if to say, well, what the hell's going on here?
It's about as unplayable as it gets.
73 to Ponting, 38 to Steve Waugh. Mark Waugh out for 30, Mark Taylor for 9. This is Australia's last match. Played in Jaipur. And a boundary to Steve Waugh straight down the ground. So his last couple of overs from Keith Arthurton have proved a bit expensive.
Yeah, and that's an example of the way the field is set, with so many people square on the offside. Even extra cover is squarer than he might sometimes be. Athleticism you see from the bowlers of Australia and South Africa in the field isn't mirrored by many of the other sides.
Very good placement. He's giving that man at deep mid-off a hard time, beating him once either side in this over.
And it's not one in the armoury of these big West Indian fast bowlers.
That's 6.
He's a real talent, Ricky Ponting. And that sort of a stroke of Ian Bishop is as special as you'd wish to see from any young player. Quite brilliant placement and really good use of the feet. That's what made that shot so terrific.
For Steve Waugh. It's 180 for 2.
the Australian supporters. 55 ball 50 from Steve Waugh. And a typically good one. Coming years of West Indian cricket when they're clearly going to go through quite a big change.
Curtly Ambrose trying to use the boot there, and his fielding has been a bit sloppy in the last half an hour or so.
Yeah, they're not too keen on diving, these big fellows. Just talking about the athleticism of the big men earlier.
He's even tentative with the boot going out. So that 100 partnership coming off of 101 balls. Ricky Ponting just 11 short of a century. And Courtney Walsh has got one right on target.
And with the slower ball too. Just been saying how the West Indies needed some of that variation in their attack to make the modern one-day batsmen think a bit harder. And no question about that, Courtney Walsh winning the battle all ends up. Not often Walsh bowls and doesn't knock a stump out of the ground. With a wry grin to him. Australia 194 for 3.
Coming in at 5. Obviously Taylor feeling that he does need a bit of a hit before they go into the quarterfinals. He's had very little batting in this World Cup because of the success at the top of the order. 12 against Kenya, 6 against India. Didn't get a hit against Zimbabwe. Even now he's only going to get 5 and a bit overs. Michael Bevan, in terrific form in the World Series competition, comes in to replace Steve Waugh, clean bowled by Courtney Walsh.
And the end of a really good innings from Stephen Waugh. Came in, played very orthodox, some memorable shots over extra cover, pull, and all the virtues of the batting that's made him so successful in the last year. Played very straight with the ball down the ground, ran well between the wickets.
Roger Harper had an opportunity there. Ricky Ponting refused the single.
Bevan was also sort of chiding, waiting to see how far it got past Walsh. Harper had him. All ends up here.
The 200 comes up in the 46th over.
And very clever batting from Ricky Ponting. Temptation here to go for the big wild stroke and just knocking it in the space. 2 a ball, which these two are so quick between the wickets are very capable of, will give Australia a very formidable total.
Last 50 coming off 40 balls. Bevan is coming and Ponting is not, and finally Roger Harper does hit the stumps. So that's a rarity. You don't get Michael Bevan run out too often.
Michael Bevan was run out in Bombay, so that's 2 in a row now for him. Batting with Shane Lee on that occasion and had a fearful mix-up. And he's looks as if he's got done, I think, by Ricky Ponting there. And Roger Harper did hit that time. Australia 200 for 4.
All average of 29, 100 and 250s. Well, that won't go for 4 because they've got a sweeper that back there, but they'll probably look for 2. In comes the throw, and this could be close. Well, he's asked for a replay there. Ponting was struggling towards the end. You could see his little legs really flying. One way or the other, this could be quite close.
Ricky Ponting is very quick between the wickets, but I think he just might find himself in a bit of trouble here. Chandra Paul is a very agile fielder, very strong arm. A bit high there, but it came very close to the stumps. This is going to be very close. He has just made it.
Yes, you could see him stretching there. Ricky, by an Australian batsman in the World Cup. Well played, Ricky Ponting.
Certainly has been a very, very good innings by Ricky Ponting. At number 3, when he's captain, quite early, settled in and has played a very, very good innings for his team. Just 110 balls. Lots of singles in that 101 runs, just to show you that it doesn't take all boundaries to get there.
Lifted that run. That's a very good throw. Ambrose coming in there and all in one movement. He's let it go. The throw was superb right over the bails, which it needed to be. And those bails were off in a flash, and Ricky Ponting was found just short.
Well, the Harper certainly showing very safe hands on this occasion. The throw was very sharp, very quick throw, and he's well short. Umpire Shepherd needing not to call for the third umpire. Australia 216 for 5.
Scored it over a run of ball. His strike rate is 109.
Barr still standing on both legs.
He's got that one through the offside field. They'll come back for the second here. And the throw into Ambrose. And they've misfielded that one, and they've gone for another run. Well, it looks to me as if he's been run out as well. There's no waiting there. They went for the extra throw. Ambrose was complaining down the other end, and all of a sudden he looked up and found that Healy was out run out. This is the throw into Ambrose's end. He was a bit casual about it. Just watch this. Tries to get it. Healy then turns around and comes. I don't think he really wanted to go. In comes the throw from Richardson, and he's way out of his ground, just over the bails, and they're off before he gets there. So a little bonus run out for the West Indians. 224 for 6.
150 to Paul Rifle. Not a bad man with the bat at all. Has been doing reasonably well. But not much opportunity to do too much here today. Just...
In fact, that one's been pulled away down a square leg. They'll come back for the second. Law's on his way. Rifle's on the way back. In goes the throw. It's wide of the stumps. Brown collects it. And so that's the end of the Australian innings. 229 for 6, which gives the West Indians a target of 230 at 4.6 runs per over in what are quite difficult conditions.
Whereas the rest of the players tended to play around him, really. He played very well. A couple of run-outs there, which might have been his fault, looking for his 100, but no, I say he's got them into a very good position.
3 more run-outs for Australia. That seems to be the way to get them at the moment. The West Indies, well, exceptional bowling figures for Curtly Ambrose. Can't quite write him off yet. His fielding may be a bit on the old and creaky side every now and again, but those figures, 4 maidens, 0 for 25 from 10, quite outstanding.
Yes, both Ambrose and Walsh bowled very well.
And they made just one of those.
Paul Rifle bowled so well in the Caribbean in Australia's recent tour there. He's able to maintain pretty good line and length, Rifle.
That is an absolute blinder. It's just said that it's touched the ground. That he's got a few disbelievers out there. From behind, it looked as though it went straight in.
It's a good diving effort there from Mark Taylor, and that's the reason he got there on the full, but he put the ball on the ground. Sometimes you can have the hand underneath the ball and the hand is resting on the ground, but on this occasion Taylor catching it with the palm facing down and with the ball facing down, and the ball was actually put on the turf.
Well, it's a pretty good over from Paul Rifle, and it's one for no wicket.
Or he's in a good position to play on the offside, not so good to play through the onside.
Well, that is beautifully bowled. Fleming did a terrific job in the game the other evening against India in Mumbai. And here he's picked up the first wicket with a classic away swinger. Just underlining what Ian Chappell said about liking to play on the offside, but being a little vulnerable against the swinging ball, and that was beautifully bowled. Classic piece of pace bowling, and West Indies are 1 for 1. Achieved it, and Lara is out there following a magnificent ovation. And what is now quite a big crowd, they've cheered him all the way out to the crease. Hasn't made all that many runs, and that's why he's out there. Sherwin Campbell, and now it's Fleming to Lara.
Beautiful delivery from Damien Fleming, just moved away, and Sherwin Campbell really pushed out at it quite firmly rather than letting the ball come to him. The bat was good 10-15 centimetres in front of his pad and really pushed out that one.
At the crease. That's one down for the Australians, and you wouldn't bet bad money on Mark Waugh putting anything down.
Almost a couple that he's put down of late. I seem to recall one for New South Wales in the Mercantile Mutual. He put down in the slips, which was a very easy one. That one not so easy. And you're diving away like that and in mid-air when the ball hits your hand.
Great shot. That's the first one he's unleashed. Rifle was trying to slant it across Brian Lara. Lara gave it no chance.
Keeps a lovely straight bat when he drives, Brian Lara. Shane Warne trying to dive on that one, but the bounce beat him. He really does have a nice flow of the bat, and the follow-through is excellent. Got a lovely stance at the crease too, Brian Lara, nice and relaxed.
To Lara, so you can say that he's in touch at the moment. Didn't quite get it right off the middle of the bat, but it was good enough for 3, and a nice slick piece of fielding there. Good combination, those two players, Bevan and Law. At the other end. That's what Lara has given Courtney Brown. Launched himself at rifle.
Well, I said before, Brian Lara's going to think he's playing in Trinidad. After the way they jumped up and yelled there, Courtney Brown will think he's at Kensington Oval. Does sound very much like a Caribbean crowd. They're here to enjoy some good stroke play, and they've seen some in this over.
And another one. Not off the middle, but no one's going to worry about that in the newspaper tomorrow. It's 20 for 1. Swing of the bat from Brian Lara, who's nonplussed a lot of bowlers over the years. Very necessary to keep a cool head when you're bowling to him, which the Australians did in the Caribbean.
That full swing of the bat is reminiscent of Sir Garfield Sobers.
Forced away and it's picked up. There'll be a try at the stumps here. And there's a big mix-up. Yes, he's gone. Another mix-up. A run out. Could this bring the West Indians down here? Well, he got called and eventually it ended in disaster. Let's have another look at it.
Well, Courtney Brown was the one that made the first call. He called and took off. Then he stopped. Brian Lara had to keep going. And it's a good thing that Courtney Brown continued as well, because if he had turned back, Brian Lara would have been the man to get out. So he sacrificed his wicket. It was his fault. West Indies are 26 for 2.
Of course, Lara must respond. And then, of course, there's a bit of a stutter. There he goes. He calls for the run, heads off, and then all of a sudden changed his mind. And, well, Lara's committed at that stage, and that's the end of that.
And I think the good thing about that, as I said before, Tony, is that Courtney Brown realized that Brian Lara didn't have a chance. When he looked back, he saw Brian Lara out, so he decided to go. He sacrificed his wicket instead of letting Brian Lara be run out.
I just have to have another little peep at that. I just thought I saw Lara's hand go up in the corner of the screen.
That's nicely nudged away. And that's 4. Oh, he plays that shot so well. It was a bouncing ball outside off stump, just nudged it away to third man. And what's more, he nudged it beautifully.
That ball hit the seaman, went away a long way from Brian Lara. But he kept his eyes on it, knowing just the one slip in place, and beat that one slip quite easily.
Shot over the top. Let's go to the fence for 4. Brian Lara is coming alive. 10 runs off the over. The West Indies are on their way. 43 for 2.
Well, that's well played into the gap on the onside. That'll run away for 4 as well. This time Richie Richardson latching on to a bad delivery. That one was over-pitched on leg stump. You cannot bowl there to class players. Played away and well fielded. Yes, this is a multinational television production brought to you by World.
And no problem at all for Brian Lara. Shortish from McGrath. It hasn't been easy on this surface of uneven bounce to judge the pull shot. Mike Taylor had some problems with it this morning, but Brian Lara having no problems at all.
He's having more problems with his sunglasses than he is with the Australian bowling at the moment. Beautiful footwork there.
As little room as possible to play the blazing offside strokes that we've seen from him. Lara's 5th ball.
That's a good shot. Once again, good footwork. It'll just be round about the time it gives it a bit of a dash.
Brings up the 50 partnership between these two. Richardson's only made 15 of them. Brian Lara now moves to 40. She's made from 44 balls. Perhaps the two most experienced and best record of the West Indian bowler.
Came back. I don't think it was all that close to leg stump. The bowlers and wicket keepers tend to exaggerate the amount of spin. Oh, well, closer than it appeared to the naked eye. Got that away very fine. Steve Waugh fielder. Got 3 there.
To be squinting a bit when he doesn't have his glasses on. Doesn't seem to be affecting his batting, whether he's got them on or off. And he's let the big curveball go. Don't often see that from Shane Warne.
You don't. What was he trying? The flipper? More likely to be the... Yeah, it was the flipper. And it was uncontrollable flipper.
So most of us let go of a leg break in the nets. Not the man next to me, though.
Well, Shane Warne generally is pitching it as he wishes. It's a bit slippery out there at the moment. And Richardson picked that all right.
Well picked by Richie Richardson. Saw the googly and smashed it away. A little short from Shane Warne. Really good batting. Richardson's been very watchful of anything up to the back. And very punishing on anything short. Let's wait and see. There's been some of that uneven bounce most of the day. Lara's quite disturbed by that. That's come very big on him from short of a length. Lara actually creeping forward. He sets himself to be back. He's in a good position here across his crease, then looks to edge forward, and there's some real bounce there, darting back into him.
It's the uneven bounce that poses problems for the batsmen. They don't mind if the ball's bouncing all the time.
Was a bit wide, though.
That's a very good shot. Brings up his 50. No doubt about who this crowd have come to see.
Very good 50 for Brian Lara. They came here expecting to see a good game and to see some good cricket, see some good stroke play. Well, Ricky Ponting did not disappoint for Australia, and Brian Lara following in his footsteps.
Must feel at home, Michael. This is very much like a Caribbean. Ponting out on the boundary. I guess the main difference since his illness and coming back after that break is that he hasn't been able to dominate like he used to before. I remember, well, I guess the one that really stands out is the 180-odd at Border Ground against the Australians. Richie just hasn't looked like the type of player who can dominate now, and he certainly used to do that.
I don't think he's as confident a player as he used to be here.
That's 4.
McGrath has been coming in for a bit of stick of late, not just in this game, but even against India in Mumbai. Tendulkar got hold of him there.
Glenn McGrath, and he's got it. Well taken. So Mark Waugh has got the breakthrough. Not his best delivery, but it could well be his most important.
Mark Waugh has struck again for Australia. He was the man who got Tendulkar out in Mumbai when Tendulkar threatened to win the game for India. And now he has gotten the wicket of Brian Lara. Caught by Glenn McGrath in a deep backward square position. Brian Lara at the end of a very good innings. It's 113 for 3.
Yeah, played quite well. And one of those innings was that one against Sri Lanka in Hobart. Not much form to speak of in this competition. There's no time like the present.
Well, the batsman crossed while that ball was in the air, going out to deep backward square. So Richie Richardson is on strike. And this was Mark Waugh striking again for Australia. Glenn McGrath taking a very good catch.
A little bit of bounce with that delivery, just catching the top edge. And well taken by Glenn McGrath on the run.
Punter a bit square then, son. Punter a bit square.
Bring the bail into the ground. I could think of a couple of spots around the world where he might have a bit of strife doing that. Perth is one that comes to mind. It's 114 for 3.
A lot better here in this game against Australia.
That's an excellent shot. Not hard to score off at all, Michael.
I knew that was coming, Ian. It certainly was a very by Richie Richardson. He made ground, got to the pitch of the ball. Look at this footwork. Got there beautifully undriven to the mid-on position.
One tossed up, so another tidy over from Shane Warne. 3 runs from it. It's 132 for 3.
Already got the wicket of Sachin Tendulkar in that thrilling match in Bombay under his belt. And now today has added to it the wicket of Brian Lara, so they're 2 of the prize scalps in the tournament.
Oh, he's hit that one high. This could be out. Or it'll go the other way. I think he's get him. No, it's 6. Over the top. A big hit, that one. It's a long boundary down there. And really, Ricky Ponting hovering underneath that one. Made the catch, but the line was right at his feet as he made the catch. And so that was the end of that. He took it over the line. Big hit, this.
And Ponting has to look back and get his balance, and as he steadies himself, it's too late. Jumping for the catch takes him off balance and overboard. And into the sponsors. And good stroke from Richardson.
Yes, he definitely took the fieldsman on there. Ponting about 15 metres in from the rope down there. Notice how he had to get right back. Actually, he's so quick that really he'd probably be better off fielding right back on the line, because they're not going to get too many to him. He comes in so quickly. He's in the air there, and there's no way he could stop himself. Paul trying to cut it away. 7 runs from the over, 140 for 3. Left arm wrist spinner. 29 matches, an economy rate of just under 5. But he's used in short spells, very often in situations on these slow wickets where batsmen have struggled to pick him. Interesting to see how he goes today. He's got stuck into that one. It's bouncing down towards the boundary at square leg, and it's gone for 4. Well, that was perfect placement. That's a good way to start. That also brings up Richie Richardson's 50.
What an excellent response by the West Indies captain to all the pressure that surrounded him and his team in this last week. He really has come out and played responsibly and well. Used his feet nicely to the seamers and the spinners, and his timing has been exquisite all day.
Back now, pretty.
34 from 18 then for the West Indies, so it's a very comfortable position for them.
Hold in. He's gone for the pull shot. That's a ridiculous shot in these circumstances. Try to play the pull shot off a straightish delivery on a pitch that's been inconsistent in terms of bounce, and this is exactly what the Australians want, and it is definitely not what the West Indians need. They could get themselves into trouble as a result of this.
There's only one group of people who can lose this game for the West Indies, and that's their own batsmen. Perfect example of an unnecessary stroke at this stage. There are lots of wide open spaces on the leg side. Shivnarine Charnapal would have been much better off picking one of them for just a single or a two. 146 for 4.
Maybe they want to, I mean, Shane Warne's got 3 overs left. They might prefer to keep a better player for them when he's on. That's the only reason I can think of anyway. But I say that's not a very good shot there. Ball hasn't really bounced, and it's
a bit too full to pull, wasn't it?
It's over the top of the umpire, and they'll get 2 more. He was perfectly positioned. What a good shot that is. Straight over the top, 1 bounce for 4. Well, I tell you what, Roger Harper's in an interesting frame of mind.
He messed about here. He's placed the full toss beautifully in the big gap between deep mid-wicket and long on. He's then had a splice pull for a couple more, and much the best shot of the lot, getting right through the ball. Wonderful full flow of the bat.
They'll be there in no time.
A great feature of Richie Richardson's batting today against the slow bowlers, which have often been a problem for him, has been his footwork. Biding his time and then whipping down that pitch.
Oh, this could be close if he hits the stumps. Well, Mark Waugh lost his hat. Richie Richardson didn't really want one there, but he went.
Well, it's a suicidal run. Absolutely no need at this stage. It's all right to come out and play a few shots, but to run each other out, simply unnecessary. Agree with that?
So they've got, let's have a look at the field. They've got 3 men on the offside saving one. The sweeper obviously has stayed back, and there's a 3rd man in position as well. So those are 3 run-saving men. Oh, shot. Magnificently played, Richie Richardson. He's blasted that through the offside field. It's a nice way to welcome one of the Australian opening bowlers.
He does give it the most terrific flail through the offside, Richie Richardson. He's getting his feet going nicely now. Look how this left foot comes out of the ball. Effectively, at the end of the innings, quietening opposition, batting down.
Oh, he's got that away too beautifully. That's 1 for 4. Now, that wasn't luck. He played that shot purposely. Perhaps he didn't mean it to go as fine as it did, but he certainly meant to get it away fine so that he could beat the 3rd man. That's well played.
Fortune favouring the brave here for the West Indies. Richardson looking to run it away to 3rd man for the single. The ball just bounced on him. Talking about that uneven bounce earlier.
As this World Cup builds up. That's hit away again. He's hit that gap a couple of times. This time, in fact, it's Roger Harper who gets onto one, bisecting the field at mid-off and extra cover, right between the Australian captain and Stephen Waugh.
This excellent one-day sider there's lack somebody at this stage of the innings, a Wasim Akram or Joel Garner type figure to bottle things up. Waugh often works the oracle for them.
Oh, he's hit that one square, and it's going for 4. Short deliveries on this wicket or a no-no. Richie Richardson lapped that one up.
Absolutely Richardson's strongest shot. His whole game is based on the back foot. He's worked hard to try to make himself be better off the front foot on this tournament. But anything short of Richardson will almost invariably pay the price. Anything
strikes that we've seen from him.
We can leave those highlights because the news is good, well, quite good, because we got live pictures. That's the good side of it. The bad side is that there is no audio, I'm afraid. We haven't got any commentary, but it looks like the West Indies have just lost a wicket and Roger Harper is out. And here is how he's gone. And that's LBW, Angus Fraser.
I wish Shep would give a few of them during the summer. Might have got his foot just outside the line there, actually. But I say a wicket that Australia desperately needed. What do they need? 36 or 8 overs, so 4.5 and over. They should still win it comfortably, but I say that does give Australia a bit of encouragement.
Good little knock that by Roger Harper. 22 off 27 deliveries. Came in and did just what he was required to do. Put a bit of impetus into the West Indian innings and really just sort of get them up closer to the target now. They're only what, just less than 30 away now.
Yeah,
so let's get back to our commentators in Jaipur.
Umpire Shepherd right in the game at the moment. Calling no ball on that occasion. Previous ball fired out Roger Harper.
So seeing that he was all that far forward, hit him very low. Good glimpse the side of the off stump there, but he was taking quite a step, which we'll see more easily here. Yep, even took a big step with his back foot.
It's 195 for 5. Feeling as though they've got a chance in this match. Big shout there and another LBW. So the Australians are right back into this game.
Well, that was a very good piece of bowling from Mark Waugh. He's been brought on quite possibly, as Ian Chappell pointed out, because the left-hander was in, he'd be spinning away from him. The left-hander, Keith Atherton, would recognise that and may well have started to play for that. In fact, it turned out to be the one that goes straight on, perfectly straight on, and only for the pad intercepting it, it would have hit middle and off about 3 parts of the way up. So that's disappointment for Keith Atherton. That was very, very well bowled by Mark Waugh, who's not been bowling off spin for all that long.
For the West Indies. 5 from 22 balls for Richie Richardson. That'll help.
Trying to work out why he did that. Putting a little bit extra into it, and it's slanted down the leg side, and Richie Richardson has jumped all over it.
Just wide of Michael Bevan. So it's the 1 over to come. That's beautifully hit. That relieves a bit of the pressure.
Good shot again by Richie Richardson. I've been seeing for a rifle ball on that length too often, right up to the bat. And Richie Richardson making sure that he took full toll of that half volley, hitting it over mid-on. He was inside the circle.
That's a nice shot. Damien Fleming won't catch it.
One who was talking about getting singles. Jimmy Adams showing that he can also hit boundaries. Well placed.
That's a good shot. Jimmy Adams hitting a couple of important boundaries here for the West Indies. Richie Richardson won't be able to get his 100 now, but I don't think he'll be bothered if they clinch victory.
Each point, but Jimmy Adams found the gap beautifully there. Just 2 more to get.
And there it is, another boundary to finish it off. So the West Indies have made the quarterfinals, and a very relieved captain there, just congratulating Jimmy Adams. And that's been a courageous performance from the West Indies. Suddenly, there's a smile back on the face of the West Indian players. Very good comeback after their loss to Kenya.
Very good performance by the West Indies indeed. Their bowlers went out there this morning, bowling exceedingly well.
2-3-2 for 6, and Richie Richardson not out 93. That is a magnificent knock by the West Indian captain under the most immense pressure, because as we were saying, the West Indian board has convened a special meeting to decide whether he should be captain after tomorrow. I think he might sneak it. And we'll have a quick look at the Australian bowling figures in just a moment or two. Jimmy Adams not out 17 at the end. People may wonder why he came in at 8, but what a relief to see him coming out the cool head in a crisis. And the pick of the Australian bowling figures, Mark Waugh, 3 for 38. Shane Warne, 0 for 30 off 10. Didn't get a lot of tap, but didn't pick up wickets. And that is a really good effort by the West Indies. So they should be through to the quarterfinals. We'll check on the group table and all of that sort of stuff in just here. Because if that is the case, then the West Indies definitely through to the quarterfinals, where they probably play South Africa. But if Kenya or Zimbabwe were to win either of those games, then it'll be down to run rate, and we haven't got the computer working yet to work out where everybody is on that one. So that's the story in Group A. West Indies probably through and they will definitely be through as long as India and Sri Lanka win on Wednesday. We will hope to maybe try and grab a quick word with Richie Richardson.
People in the West Indies who we heard during the last game, and I just like to say to the people in the Caribbean, you know, even though we understand their feelings, but we are here to do a job and we're going to try our best for them.